Windows Phone did something rare in a market becoming familiar. It made a smartphone feel genuinely different. Its home screen moved, its typography breathed, and Lumia cameras could embarrass more popular phones at their own game. Yet Microsoft did not rescue this good product. It gradually dismantled it. So what killed Windows Phone? And why couldn't quality save it? The first clue? Microsoft wasn't competing on design alone. Metro treated the home screen less like a rack of icons and more like a living dashboard. It favored motion over a static grid. Live tiles surfaced messages, photos, weather, and appointments without making you open every app. The screen changed with you. Strong animation and controlled hardware targets often made the system feel unusually fluid, even on modest devices. Nokia then gave that software a physical identity. Saturated polycarbonate shells, optical stabilization, and distinctive cameras. The Lumia 1020 that pushed that identity to a 41-megapixel sensor. This was not a bad phone consumers wisely rejected. It was a good product trapped inside a weak platform. The clock was already against it, because a platform does not start with an empty clock. Apple's App Store opened in July 2008, and Android market followed that October, before Windows Phone 7 reached buyers. Windows Phone 7 reached buyers in late 2010, polished, but already late. 2 years sounds small. In a platform market, it is enormous. The clock had been accumulating users, code, and habits. Users had bought apps and learned habits. Developers had built code, payments, and audiences around 2 growing stores. That created the central trap. Every rational choice by one side weakened the other. Microsoft arrived with a polished interface but asked everyone to move before it could offer an equally valuable destination. Developers saw too few users to justify a first-class app. Buyers saw missing apps and chose the larger audience. The app gap was a feedback loop. The gaps were qualitative as well as numerical. Instagram finally arrived in beta in 2013, but initially lacked video sharing. Snapchat never released an official Windows Phone app. Instead, users depended on fragile third-party clients. Microsoft understood the problem. It chased important missing apps, but could not make every developer's economics work. Joe Belfiore later acknowledged the hard limit. User volume remained too low for many companies to invest. But Microsoft also gave early adopters reasons to doubt the platform itself. In 2012, it announced that existing Windows Phone 7 hardware would not receive Windows Phone 8. Those devices got the new start screen through Windows Phone 7.8, but not the new operating system. The technical reason was real. Windows Phone 8 moved to a different core. The commercial message was harsher. Buy early, and your new phone might reach a software wall. That did not single-handedly kill Windows Phone. It made the enthusiasts, developers, and salespeople Microsoft most needed less certain that today's platform would matter tomorrow. Nokia was Microsoft's best attempt to break that cycle. The companies formed their smartphone partnership in 2011. It promised a third ecosystem beside Apple and Google. Lumia gave Windows Phone saturated shells and hardware people could recognize across a room. The camera story was especially credible. The Lumia 1020 combined a 41-megapixel sensor with optical stabilization. The result was a concrete reason for a buyer to switch. The Lumia 920 had already made low-light photography a headline feature. Lumia sales rose. In the third quarter of 2013, Windows Phone shipments reached 9.5 million, up 156% year-over-year. Britain and France briefly reached double-digit sales share. But globally, Windows Phone held just 3.6% against Android's 81%, and Nokia supplied 93.2% of those Windows phones. The platform was essentially a Nokia platform. That was momentum, but concentrated momentum. Microsoft responded by agreeing to buy almost all of Nokia's phone business for 5.44 billion euros, including a patent license. It bought factories, engineers, manufacturing capacity, and hardware expertise. It did not buy a larger customer network or a larger developer audience. Microsoft had vertically integrated a platform that was still missing the scale its ecosystem needed. Then the bet met the balance sheet, where optimism becomes an accounting number. In July 2015, Microsoft recorded a $7.5 billion non-cash impairment tied to assets from the Nokia Devices acquisition. The charge said the acquisition's expected future value had collapsed. This was an accounting judgment, not cash leaving the company again. In plain English, the phone business was worth far less than Microsoft had expected. The human cost followed. It also announced up to 7,800 job cuts, primarily in phones. Nadella's wording mattered. Microsoft was moving away from growing a standalone phone business toward a broader Windows ecosystem. That sentence redefined success. This was the decisive strategic turn, not an instant execution. Existing phones did not vanish, but hardware plans narrowed and investment fell. The missing apps made even impressive phones harder to sell. Weak sales made apps harder to justify. Every retreat then signaled to buyers and developers that the loop would worsen. Throwing more money at handsets could prolong the business, but not guarantee recovery. It could not guarantee the scale needed to reverse the network effect against two entrenched platforms. By then, Microsoft had found a better mobile strategy. Office for iPad arrived in March 2014, alongside free Office mobile apps for iPhone and Android. Office no longer waited for Windows hardware. Later that year, Microsoft expanded free Office access across those rival platforms. This was Nadella's mobile-first Microsoft in practical form. Go where users already were. The company could sell subscriptions, cloud storage, and productivity tools without financing a third smartphone ecosystem. That reached a much larger installed base with far less capital risk. Windows Phone's ending therefore came in stages, not one kill switch. In 2015, hardware was cut back. In October 2017, new features and hardware stopped being the focus, although security updates continued. Windows 10 Mobile version 1709 became the last release. Support ended on December 10, 2019. Microsoft did not kill Windows Phone because it was worthless. It stopped funding a good product whose platform economics were worse than the alternative. A beautiful interface can win affection. Only an ecosystem can keep a platform alive.